Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. If you're on the East Coast like me, I hope you're staying warm. And if you're not, I'm jealous. We'll let everyone trickle in here and then we will get started in about 60 seconds. If you could, in the comments, we'd love to hear where everyone is chiming in from. If those who are live and with us here in person, if you could throw in a couple of places that you're chiming in from, we'd love to say a quick hello. Let's see what we got here. All over the place. Great. Give everyone another 30 seconds or so. Thank you again to Teen and the rest of the eXp Solutions group. Looking forward to this call all week. So happy it's only Tuesday when we get to connect here. My name is Jason Kaspert. I'm the Director of Sales here at Corded. We are a recruiting and retention software working with dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of folks within eXp to help build out their team, grow their organization, and move inventory as quickly as possible. And I'll highlight those three things here on the webinar. Again, if you could just chime in as to where it is that you're located, say a quick hello, and if there are any questions, please, I would encourage you throughout to utilize the chat. The webinar will run about 25 minutes or so, and we'll leave some questions for the end, but overall, I hope to tackle all of them right here, right now. Hello, Ernesto in Miami. You want to switch places? It's plenty warm here in New York. Let's change it up. Chicago suburbs. Hello, Tracy. Go Bears. A lot of Chicago folks. Wonderful. Thank you for joining. Hello, Angela. Hello, Eric. Got a lot of the Central Time Zone chiming in. Finally, Sandra, someone as cold as me up there in New Hampshire. I love it. So we're going to dive in here. I appreciate everyone chiming in the comments. And let's kind of kick it off here, right? So I'm going to share my screen. And again, my name is Jason Kaspert. I'm the Director of Sales here at Corded, working with, Scott, go Hawks. Great win the other day. Congratulations. We are a recruiting and retention software. We also have a suite of information related to market trends, market share, all ways so you can effectively build your team efficiently, build out your organization, and then move inventory as quickly as possible. I've just gone ahead and shared my screen here. If everyone would be so kind as to write in the comments if you could see my screen, where at the top it says pipeline summary, and then you'll see a couple of different details. If you give me a yes or a thumbs up, that would be very, very helpful. Beautiful. Thank you, Ernesto. Thanks, everyone. So the first place that we're going to start is in building out your team. Today, I'm going to pretend that I am a team leader in Charlotte, North Carolina. And what I'm going to do is highlight a couple of ways that people are utilizing this system to set more appointments with productive, profitable agents. This is our system. It's very, very simple. If you'd like, you can search by any agent here on the top left. But what most people do is they go ahead and they want to search for the easiest opportunities. Easiest opportunities to make connections, set appointments, and have conversations. So to do so, you can take the lens of looking directly at agents, understanding trends and volatilities across offices nearby, or getting a sense of other themes within brands and getting a sense of, again, where you can easily win. Most folks within eXp, when they are building out their team, they start within the agent search. And their objective here is to identify, first and foremost, who is within an arm's length away. Who do they know? Who might know them? And how can you effectively converse with them? And then secondly, within the ideal avatar that you might have for your team, how could you be sure that you're speaking to someone where it's the right time for them to be having a conversation with you? So to start, right, it's pretty simple. You can utilize these filters up here on the top right, where you can define any and all types of parameters that you'd wish, whether it be by location or their propensity to move or grow, what their production has looked like over the last 12 months, what their experience is, or even if you've had some success, having conversations with those at other brands or offices, you could type those in here as well. Now, where most people start is by taking a look at their co-ops or their co-broke agents to say, well, if I was there in Charlotte, I'd quickly recognize that over the last 3 months, there are about 460 agents who've closed a deal with one of our agents there at eXp, many of which as recently as yesterday. It's accounting for almost $5.1 billion of production that is living on the other side of the deal in which those at eXp have executed, right? And we want to make it simple. So if we were to go into any or all of these folks, let's take a look, for example, at someone like Brooke Broadwell. Brooke here is at Mackey Realty. If you'd like, down here on the left, you could get a sense of what their contact information is, or how long they've been in the business, or how long they've been a part of their current office. In the middle, we'll give you a battle card to give you a sense of what their production has looked like. Are they moving up or down market? How efficient or effective are they? Where have they worked? So it looks like they started at Berkshire Hathaway. They had moved over to Mackey Realty, in this case, back in June. But most importantly, right, we had started by speaking about those who are at arm's length away. 5 days ago, Andy here, who's a part of eXp there in Charlotte, actually closed a deal with Brooke, where in this case, you can get a sense of this beautiful property, get an understanding that Brooke had brought the buyer to Andy's listing. Understand that it had sat on the market for just over 3 weeks and went for 2% above asking. You can see here that all of this is now sourced from the Canopy MLS or whichever MLS it is that you are a part of. And in one click, what we want to put you in a position to do is draft a personalized message that is solely dedicated and direct for the agent that you're hoping to engage with. So, for example, this message, just in one click, you see my hands here, read the profile, and in essence was a marriage of ChatGPT and the MLS records to provide a very specific script to reach out to Brooke saying, hey, great job working with Andy there on Easter Street. I've noticed that you've been busy there in Forest City, Maiden, and elsewhere, right? I'm curious, when you're sizing up new markets or price point, what's your process? Would love to help you out and show you how our Charlotte crew could help push you further. Would you be open to a couple of minute call next week? You can copy and paste this, send it out on your own accord. You can even click this email and it'll open up your own email. But the idea here is, how can we help you communicate with those who are very simply closing deals with those in the eXp universe? If you can do so before, say, Brooke's broker or manager is even aware that the deal occurs, it sets the relationship off on the right foot. I see a question here, data source. Corded, we are directly integrated with about 240 MLSs throughout the country. We signed three-way agreements with, say, eXp, MLS, and us to, in essence, provide you this type of information. And Greg, I say you're the one who asked that question. If you were to kindly type in which MLS you're a part of, I'll let you know if we are live there or not. We're launching, say, 3 to 5 MLSs every week. So if we're not yet there, it certainly could be soon. Secondly, in regards to building out your team, right, I'm going to go back to this agent search and show you how others within eXp are very easily identifying why today is the right time to be engaging with agents who are not only productive and profitable, but they might actually have more time today to take your call than they would have, say, yesterday, or even a couple of weeks or a couple of months ago. Susanna, we are live in Metro there in Milwaukee. And actually, you know what? Let's utilize Milwaukee. I go badge. I went to Wisconsin. Let's utilize Metro and Milwaukee as this instance here. Tallahassee, Franklin, we are live there as well. So that's great, Greg. So Susanna, right? We're talking about in Milwaukee. So what we can do is start with location. You could very easily define location as to where is their office located. Where do they actually close most of their deals, or where do they live? Especially with the advent of other cloud brokerages and cloud brokerages like yourselves, what I like to do is actually hone in on those who live or close most of their deals, in this case, in Milwaukee. From here, you can then identify, well, who might be productive or profitable for you. Many of the folks that we work with, they are targeting agents who've done, say, between 3 and 10 deals in the last 12 months, which will then give you your addressable market. There are 726 agents there in Milwaukee who've closed between 3 and 10 deals in the last 12 months. But what we want to do is tee up the, say, 1 to 8% of this list who, despite having success, could be looking at their broker saying, what's going on? I did the business planning on my own. I haven't seen a commission check in a while. And I don't project seeing one in the future as well. That's where the opportunity is ripe. So to more so visualize and articulate that, we can go in and first and foremost set off a couple of exclusions. So when you go ahead and you're attracting folks to your team, of course, we want to exclude anyone who is currently a part of EXP. Secondly, and very importantly, we can exclude those who are a manager or a managing broker. So you're solely speaking to agents. And then lastly, what we find, right, is if you're attempting to set an appointment or have a conversation with an agent who's working on 4 or 5 deals or dealing with 2 or 3 contractors, their brain could be clouded a bit, right? And their calendar could certainly be packed. So those who have a lot of success, they try to cut through the noise. And what they'll say is, well, of these agents in Milwaukee who are not a part of EXP, done between 3 and 10 deals in the last 12 months, is there anyone who has not closed a deal in the last 3 months? And right here, right now, they have nothing active or pending, meaning they're not going to leave any commission on the table. They have not secured any listings of late. And instead of, if you recall, attempting to spend time with what was first about 800 agents there in Milwaukee, here are the 145, accounting for $220 million in production, who are at a standstill in their business. Many of these folks you see, they're actually down quite tremendously. If you'd like, you can sort in the opposite equation to say, hey, who might be outperforming the splits at the more traditional shops that they're a part of? But what many individuals do is they start here. If we were to dive in a bit deeper and use some of our predictive analytics, you can actually say, well, of these agents, which of them significantly look like others in the past who've moved as well? Whittling down that list again from 800 people down to 53, which is much more manageable. We can dive into enter all of these folks. Let's just, for example's sake, take a look at maybe someone like Janice here. Not to pick on Janice, but here's why I believe she might be open to having a good conversation. You'll see she's at KAI or KAI Real Estate. She's down 72% in the last 12 months. If we were to take a look at what she had done in 2024, this is a $4.4 million agent who in 2025 did a quarter of that. You can also see that she's moved around a bit. She actually spent elementary school with you all, right? Where she really cut her teeth for about a year, understanding how you guys operate there at EXP. She then moved over to Keller Williams, where she spent about a year, 5 months, year and 6 months or so before attempting to believe that the grass might be greener elsewhere. You could very quickly validate that in this case, 2024 was a massive year for her. You could also get a sense that, well, for Janice, she actually hasn't seen a commission check from real estate since it was about 75 degrees warmer here in New York than what it was. And if you'd like, from a visual sense, you get the idea that, well, over the course of her career, she happens to operate not all too far away from where you guys do there in Milwaukee, if not some of the suburbs. If you'd now like to reach out, we will, again, help you to make sure that all of the messaging is in your genuine tone and fits your personality. But most importantly, one click, put together a message that is solely intended for Janice. No other agent worked on the list side on North 78th Street, and you could very quickly get a sense of how you'd like to interact with her. So you can mention the leadership you have or the brand of EXP. You could even change over the tone, right? So if I wanted to be a bit sarcastic, many folks find this to be successful, where it's like, hey, another recruiting message. I know we're actually in the attraction business and Milwaukee's been easy, right? But the idea here is all to make sure that you have genuine conversations with the agents who would be most likely to pick up the phone and converse with you. From here, you can then take notes, right? So you can say, I spoke to Janice, would like to chat again on Friday. You can create a task for yourself or for someone else. So I'm going to create a task for myself for Friday to send an email. And I'm going to say, send over our recent listings. And I'm going to set this for Friday. Let's see here. All of this will live within the profile. So that way you don't have to say, remember who you interacted with. And then you'll be prompted of said tasks as well. So if you think about it, right, it's how can we have the right information? How can we know it's the right time? And then what do we say to someone like this? And hopefully we'll be able to turbocharge those types of efforts. Now, just to pivot over into growing your organization, right? You can take the same perspective and look at agents who are certainly valuable and understand what they're doing. And I see a question here about past or failing a real estate exam. This is all licensed agents. So you'll see not only their MLS ID, but also their license number. There is a place in here where you can store any information you'd like on agents who are maybe new to the business or soon to be graduating. But everything in this data analytics and insights tool is for those who are licensed agents. On the organization front, we have a number of agents. I can run down the list: Randy Bird, Jamie Doolin, John Mikesh, a number of others who, instead of taking the perspective of looking at agents to find opportunity, they instead go after offices. And not just any offices, but those whose broker might have some productive agents on the roster. They're still in production. And that administrative burden of running an office would certainly be alleviated and then accelerated if they were to, say, join your organization and join eXp. Now, I saw that a couple of folks had been chiming in. Scott, I'll pick on you. Go Hawks from Northwest MLS. So let's kind of start there, right? What we can do is maybe search MLS wide, and we could take a look at all of the offices that are there in the Northwest MLS. There's about 2,900 offices who fit the bill. Those who are growing their organization, what they intend to do is take a look at some of the smaller offices with enough meat on the bone to entice them into having a conversation, right? All in a positive light. So what, of course, we want to do is exclude those offices that are EXP. We could also cut out, some of the name brands, focus in on some of the independents, right? So we could cut out Windermere, we could cut out Sotheby, maybe Remax, right? Keller. Let's just start there. Now, from here, we could say, well, of the offices that are maybe of an independent capacity, who is it that has, say, between 5 and 35 agents? They have a minimum of $10 million in production over the last 12 months. And here's the secret sauce of these offices. Is there anyone who's both declining in sales and, unfortunately, agents are headed elsewhere, right? So instead of attempting to spend time with any and all types of offices or individuals, this is a very easy way to collect another organization and infuse them into yours. So here are 45 of the 3,000 offices there in the Pacific Northwest. Some of which might look familiar, others might not. But I'm going to dive into this particular office in Everett. So you'll see, David here is the broker of the office. He started this office right before everything that had occurred during COVID, which was a very different time in a real estate sense, right? Over the last 12 months, this is a very dense and unique roster where they're actually down 50%. Their unit count is down 23%, and they're also moving a bit down market. Their agents are very loyal. They're productive. And 8 out of 10 of them certainly know what they're doing. Let's kind of validate that, right? We can get a sense of their agent roster where they have a lot of experienced agents. There is no rainmaker in this office. It looks like the 8 productive agents range between 400K and 3.7 million in terms of output. They have 12, if not 14, active listings today. But what's happening here is pretty interesting, right? Over the last 12 months, they lost one $3.8 million producer, Amy, who, if we recall, would actually have been the top producer in this office, right? David here has been doing this for a while. And in losing a top producer, it's never easy. So this could be a very, I don't know about simple, but a very eligible group to say, bring to the table to have a conversation as to why eXp could provide a lot of value to what they're doing there at Real Estate 2000. I'm going to pause for a second. Hit me in the comments, questions. Is this good? Is this bad? We'd love to hear some feedback here and then move on to chapter 3 of this conversation here on a Tuesday. Come on, don't be shy. Don't be shy. If you're being shy, maybe I'll pick on someone. Thank you. Thank you. No, great. And Arshia, I'll chat through the path as well and what that looks like, right? I would love to use someone on the call here. Does anybody have an active listing? If so, if they could drop the address of that active listing, and I'll show you how folks are reverse prospecting in Courted to connect with the right buyer agents. If anyone would be so kind as to drop either a price point and a city or a county and a price point. It doesn't have to be the exact address, but I'd love to show you something here. Okay. And Tracy, price point and county. There we go. Arshia, beautiful. If you guys could throw in a price point, that'd be helpful as well. Or a price range. Tracy at first. There we go. Okay. So let me just pull this up here. So in Chesterfield in Oswego, Illinois. Beautiful. Okay. So what we're going to do now is pull through our market trends and market share to get a sense of the listing that you have there in Oswego. So to do so, right, we can go into our research portion where we then go into market share. This will give you a flavor of which agents have the most business in a particular area on one or either side of the deal. So for you, Tracy, right, what we'll do is we'll dive into MRED. We'll take a look specifically at the zip code here. 60543. And I see you have that listing there for, it looks like 450, where we can then say, well, of the agents who close deals in 60543, who is it that has not only represented the most buyers, but has represented the most buyers between, say, a 20%, 30% bound of where your listing is. So say between 350 and 550. As this marinates here, the idea is when you have an open house, when you're going to send marketing materials, I'm sure you guys have fantastic Rolodexes, but in picking up the phone and calling upon those who actually have the deepest network and level of expertise in the exact place where you have a opportunity, it will accelerate your deal. So it looks like here are the top 10 agents in Oswego, Illinois, who've represented buyers between 350 and 550. If you see here on the right, this is the market share component of it. And in terms of number of units, right, I'm just going to sort by who's represented the most buyers in that area. And if I were you, Tracy, right, what I would then do is make sure to pick up the phone and call Saravi and Rajeskar and Venkateshwar, giving me some names that I'm having a bit of a difficult time here with. But long story short, these top 10 agents, they represent more buyers in this area in the last 12 months than anyone else. These are the people you want at your open houses. These are the people who you want to send your listing presentations to. And what we found is that if you're able to be extremely precise in doing so, it'll result in money in your pocket sooner rather than later. Many other things we do here at Courted. I wanted to highlight the three most impactful ways that those at eXp are extracting value from what we are doing here. Number one, building out a team, identifying agents who are an arm's length away or productive, but a bit, say, vulnerable or not as busy right now. Secondly, attracting folks to your organization, taking either the agent route or that office route, right? So you could scoop up 5, 10, 15, maybe even 40 or 50 agents at one time. And then lastly, that reverse prospecting to make sure that the right buyer agents with their networks are showing up to your events, showing up to all of the opportunities you have, and hopefully putting money in your pocket sooner rather than later. I'm going to just share one last thing here, which is we make sure to speak to everyone very much in a personalized sense. We want to make sure that every demo that you see, every experience you have with us is relevant to who you are and to what you are doing. If you are interested in spending 15, 20 minutes with me and my team, we have growth experts that operate in essence every state and are very familiar with the nuances of small towns, college towns. I call them ESPN cities, major metropolitan areas, et cetera. Feel free to scan the QR code. Also, Tien was so kind as to drop the link here to our calendar in the comments. But I see we got 5 minutes left. If there are other questions, please do drop them in now. If you'd like to have me run through anything, that'd be very simple. I see a very valuable question here, Arshia. What is the cost, right? So in terms of cost, we partner with those at EXP on an annual basis or longer. It's a function of how many usernames or people will be in the system and how many MLSs you need access to. If you are not a part of EXP, to have access to one login and one MLS, it's $1,000 a month. But the kind folks at EXP want to drive adoption. We need feedback from you, and we want to make sure that you are ROI positive in the first week, if not 2 or 3. So as a result, if you were to sign up in one MLS for one seat, it starts at $300 a month for 12 months. Keep the questions coming through. I see a couple of people chiming in. We are live in the Bright MLS. Todd, we are live in Stellar there in Orlando, as well as about a dozen or so other MLSs there in Florida. As you saw, Ruth and Tracy, we are live there in Emred. Let's see, I'm looking up just so I could see the comments here. Greg, back to Tallahassee in Gulf County. Yes, we are. Susanna there in Milwaukee. Absolutely. In regards to add-ons, right? Let's see, I see a question about signing up before EXP. Nick, if you could please reach out to our team, that would be fantastic. Ruthie, in terms of add-ons, you could choose to add on MLSs or users, and I could certainly get you the pricing for that should you need more MLSs or more seats. Keep the questions rolling. Not yet live in the great country of Canada. Would love to be in Montreal, hopefully sometime soon. And if that's the case, maybe George will hit a Canadiens game together. What else? Give everyone another 30 seconds or so if you'd like to chime in. Feel free to book some time with our team here if you're so inclined. If you'd like more information, feel free to reach out as well. If you don't want to take a meeting, that's okay. We can provide you lists and all the details that you need. We do not integrate with Bold Trail. We do have some folks who do operate both systems at one time, where they're able to export information from ours and do some of the automated campaigns elsewhere. And in regards to retention and education, we have a lot of tools speaking to when your agents have had notable accomplishments, right? Have they had the highest listing of their career or their first closing as a part of the family? We're able to highlight for you when deals have maybe expired or when they've gone pending, all scripts related to that as well, so you can engage with your own folks. And then I see your last question here about Zapier and Lofty. We do have some folks who've connected those. It takes a bit of a lift on your end. Our side is all locked and loaded for the bridge to then be built from the other side. So we're coming at 1:30 here on the East Coast. I appreciate everyone's time. I look forward to hopefully meeting you all here soon, if not at some of the local EXP regional rallies or EXPCon, which we attend every year. Thank you all again. Appreciate the time. Stay warm. And if you're not in a cold area, I'm very, very jealous. Thanks again, everyone. Have a good one.